up. I do it straight away, like like waves do. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Struggle Session. I am your host, Leslie the Third. Thank you all for joining Jack this morning on Jack AM. Thank you so much for your support for us, for our show, for our shows. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am going to be playing some more Dark Souls today. We'll be playing some more Dark Souls today. We'll be having a lot of fun. Praise the sun. Praise the sun. We're going to be doing some co-op, I think right now. But how are y'all doing? How are y'all feeling out there in Hell World? What else can you call it? Matt nailed it. It's Hell World. And now, I wouldn't be so bold as to start a newsletter myself called Welcome to Hell World when I'm not Matt Chrisman, but, you do you. Jeb, thank you so much for checking out our commentary. I was unsure if anybody would actually spend 3 hours listening to it, but I feel like, it's a podcast, you're supposed to vibe out, chill out. I feel like our fans are pretty chill, so I'm glad so many people took a listen and enjoyed it and had fun with Jack and I listening to it. If you haven't gaming till your unemployment runs out, yeah, what else can you do? Shining north of Portland too. The sun is shining in Portland, Oregon, so it's a good day. That's nice. Chillest fans in the game. Yeah, y'all are pretty chill. I even find that fans, like every so often, right? Of course, you get the the Mark David Chapman fans, right? The Mark David Chapman light fans, right? The fans who come in, love you to death, say they love you, they want to be you, they want to wear your skin, and then they decide they hate you. But most of those people actually don't listen to my show. Those mostly just come from Twitter. I think most of the bad reply guys came from Twitter. Bring the Ruckus, thank you so much for the follow. Andy P11, thank you so much for the follow. Ball Tide, thank you so much for the follow. Finishing up the workday in Austria. Oh, Austria. I would love to visit Austria. I have a really good friend who's from Austria, but he told me, I met him several times in Japan. He would visit there, I would visit there, and we end up there at the same time and went down. Eventually, I lived there, and he tried to move there for a bit. Had a little trouble, but he's living there now. And he told me the reason he was trying to move from Austria was because he saw the right wing growing. And this is a guy who never talked to me about politics, not once. He never said anything to me about politics. We only ever, talked about wrestling. Great guy named Marcus. If you play Fire Pro, you probably have used some of his mods, but he's a great guy. Never talked to me about politics, but just one, except for one time when he told me, there everywhere you go in Austria, there's like, and this was a few years ago, around like in 2014, 15. He was like, everywhere you go, you just see like all these right wing signs, and the fascist political parties are on the rise. So I'm getting the fuck out of there. And I don't know if that's still the situation, but thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We're just gonna have fun, play some video games. Yeah, he's right. The only reason the far right folks have ate shit lately is because their party had an embarrassing scandal. Gotta love that, I guess. So in Austria, when the far right has a scandal, you actually focus. It actually hurts them instead of just being like, whatever, in a week or so. Unlike here, leader caught on tape saying, "Let's do crimes." I want to lead the U.S. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? I think Jack has it exactly right. We're in the fucking fall of Rome era, but people, like, if you buy a book about the fall of Rome, it covers like 400 years. That's what people forget. It didn't happen overnight. It was like a 400-year period. Longer than the United States has existed is when we started talking about the fall of Rome. It's like Julius Caesar in like, when was Julius Caesar? Very early on, like 300 some AD, and then going all the way up, to Constantine. Yeah, a speed run. Yeah, we're gonna do a speed run of a fall. I could see that happening. Yeah, 50 BC all the way to 450 AD is like what we consider the fall of Rome era, longer than the United States has existed. So we might be in we always, like, it's such a fantasy, I think, for people to think that they are living at the end, in the end times. Obviously, like, people, like, there's tons of cults. Several major religions embrace this end time ideology, this end time fantasy, really. You see it play out in media, movies, The Walking Dead, zombie apocalypse. You know the drill. Mad Max, even something like maybe Mad Max, right? Like, we all have this fantasy that we're gonna get to see the end, as opposed to just being one of those suckers stuck, 250 years before the actual end, who just kind of live these lives that end up being just footnotes. Right, like, at the end of the day, like, the only person who's going to be remembered from our era might be like Obama and Trump, and that might be it. That might be the only people in all of America that are talked about in 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll just be Obama and Trump. Like, no one else matters from this time period. Trump might not even make it in. Trump might not. Obama might not make it. Who knows? Maybe they just say Reagan. And that's just, you had, this was the start. Maybe even they go back to Nixon. Maybe say Nixon is the start of the decline, and then they jump forward to like Donald Trump Jr., The Rock. Maybe when The Rock runs and wins, it'll be like Reagan, then The Rock, then President Death. It'll be Reagan, Nixon, Reagan, The Rock, President Death. Maybe a brief footnote. Like, I think they made a mistake with the impeaching Trump twice. That just sets a precedent. Like, this is what happens to presidents. They're just going to get impeached, right? So you might have a footnote about the impeached presidents, but they won't get like name dropped in that history book. It would be Reagan, Rock, several presidents were impeached during this era, and then President Death. Whatever, AM from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It'll be Reagan, Rock, then whatever murderous AI we put in to finish us off. Emperor Grimace and Chancellor Hamburger fuck shit up for everyone. aliens going to be convinced that the McDonald's mascots ran the planet into the ground. Ah, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, we may get to sleeper users say we may get to the Thunderdome. I see the Thunderdome possibly happening. That fucking Ellen Game of Games stuff. That's one step away from the Thunderdome. And then you bring in like American Ninja Warrior, which I don't think is a problem in of itself, but Fear Factor, American Ninja Warrior, that genre of reality TV show, which I don't necessarily think is a problem in of itself, is clearly the precursor to Running Man, right? Like that's clearly proto Running Man content, and we're just getting there. We're slowly moving our way there. Even MMA, which I absolutely love and adore as a sport, I think is beautiful. You know, it is just people trying to destroy one another physically, and this was the knock on the UFC early on, like, oh, it's very the barbarism of it. But like, you know, you had boxing, which is if not more barbaric in some ways. So we're gonna get there. We're gonna get our Running Man. I feel like I'm gonna see a Running Man type show, Most Dangerous Game type show, Battle Royale type show. Hey, our most popular video games for a minute were all Battle Royales for some reason. I think we're gonna get there. I think I'm gonna see it. Now the only question I have for you, chat, is let's say they do the Running Man, right? But it's not. You're not forced to do it. Right? You have a choice. The first couple of years, you're going to have a choice, maybe. Or maybe I don't know what they'll do. They're probably, in the movie, they force prisoners to do it. But I feel like we've actually gotten on the path where like people will actually sign up to do it and like practice do it. Kind of like the geeky ones from the rich people from the Hunger Games, where they're like geeked up to do the Hunger Games live action Fortnite. I'm shocked there has not been a live action. Well, actually, it's only because of coronavirus that there has not been a live action Fortnite like tournament. Like that absolutely is. I guarantee Epic Games was planning some kind of laser tag or paintball live action competition with like Fortnite pros and some gamer celebrities. I know that was going to happen. So I do want to ask you, let's say if you're going to have a couple months to train, right? You're going to have a couple months to train and get ready. But would you participate in a Hunger Games Running Man type competition if you knew for a fact, if the reward was, it wouldn't be you get rich, right? It wouldn't be like you maybe they give you like $1 million, right? Like $1 million, I feel like would be the thing. $1 million. Maybe we bump it up to 10 because of inflation, but maybe let's say 5. Let's say $5 million. $5 million. Okay. And so we're gonna just do a poll. Just would you participate in the Running Man for $5 million? And let's be serious about this. If like actually imagine, someone's walking in your door and saying, "All right, it's going to be a battle to the death. 9 to 10 of you are going to die. Maybe 10 to 10. Only one's going to survive. You get 6 months to train. We'll give you $5 million. If you survive, you get $5 million. Maybe even not 9 out of 10. You just have to survive. I think in Running Man, you get hunted and you have to survive. Do you get money for the training? You get trained at the same facility. You get proper training. Let's assume that you get properly trained. You get properly fed. Let's even say it's a reality show. You all have to go in the house together. You all have to go for 6 months. You leave your life, and then they feed you. They pay someone to slap carbs out of your mouth if you try to do it. Let's see the poll. I'm gonna do a poll. You're gonna get the fucking guy you're gonna get Zack Snyder's guy to train you from 300, the guy who bulked up Ben Affleck for Batman. You're gonna get him. I get the beautiful Kumail colors that I'm in. Yes. So maybe that's another benefit. Like, hey, after 6 months, you're gonna be pretty hot. You're gonna be pretty in shape. You're gonna feel better than you've ever felt before. And maybe this is your last hurrah. Maybe this is like your last hurrah. You say, like, fuck it. I know I'm not going to win, but at least, like, I don't have to pay rent for 6 months and I'll get trained. I'll get in shape. Hey, maybe do you get cosmetic surgery too? Why the fuck not? Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they do it? You get to become the person you want to be, but then you get thrown into the gladiator arena and you have to survive for your life. Would you do it? 5 million. 5 million. Maybe 5 million is too high because I feel like most people would do anything for 5 million. Like, I feel like what would you even do this for no money? Would you even do this just to get your debt erased? I'm actually gonna. That's too easy. 5 million too. That's too easy. That's goofy. That's goofy shit. I'm internet poll. It's not gonna be 5 million. No debt. You get freed of all debt you have right now. Would you do some Running Man shit? You get freed of all debt and maybe you get a small pittance, right? You're going to be a celebrity if you survive. So you're not going to have to worry about working hard or getting in debt again. It's not going to sit. Oh, I misspelled debt. I mistyped debt. But what if you're just going to be cool? You're going to be taken care of. You're not going to be rich, but you're going to basically be able, like Woody Harrelson in the Hunger Games, where you can kind of live off of your celebrity for a while fairly decently. You gotta survive. I don't know about the timer, how long it's supposed to be. I don't want to get into specifics about that. Maybe it's 12 hours, maybe it's 24. The layout of the land's gonna make it. And you have 20-1 odds living. Yeah, I would say about 20-1. I would say about 20-1. I would say about 20-1. 20-1 odds of surviving. Seems fair. No winning. Didn't get a lot of votes, but we did get no on just the debt. I think if people got money, they'd be like most people would be into it. But I feel like I think a lot of people would actually just do it for the debt. You erase your debt and you're going to be a celebrity. So you're going to be able to start like a Patreon. You're going to be able to start a Twitch stream. You're going to be cool. You're going to be cool after that. You're not going to be rich, but you're going to be cool. You do it for room and board. You're going to have room. You're going to have the room and board because people are going to be like, "Oh, you're a hero. You survived this." You're never going to have to pay for a drink again. They're going to send me to debtor's prison. I don't know, man. Debt isn't going to kill me. See? That's the thing. They want you to think that debt will kill you. That's how when you get a bill, that's how you're supposed to feel, like it's going to kill you. I don't want to get again, no battle royale, no prize shit. I don't want to get to the game and they get socks or something goofy. And Continental Psyop is talking about, hey, maybe this is a chance for revenge. You get to do whatever you want to. I'm not sure who the hunters would be. I assume a number of them would be cops looking for practice. I would assume a lot of them would be cops looking for practice. In the actual Running Man movie, he is a former cop who gets set up he gets framed as being like a killer cop. And he gets like sent to prison for it. That's so funny. It's like that was our fantasy in the 80s, that if cops like kill people willy-nilly, they would actually get in trouble for it. Serious trouble. You have that in Die Hard. The black character. The black cop, he rises a death because he killed a kid on accident. And he feels so bad for it, he doesn't want to pick up his gun again. And what's another movie? Another movie has something similar to is Die Hard. It's Die Hard. What's the other film? There's Running Man. There's another. You can't just shoot me. You're a cop. There are rules. Demolition Man has that, but Demolition Man takes place in the future, but still it kind of has that kind of theme, like cops aren't just supposed to kill people, which we did away with, I guess, in the mid to late 90s, early '00s, and now Iron Man just like murks dudes like on sight. It is on sight with Iron Man. Real Drake Myers, thank you so much for the follow. Clontarf, thanks for the follow. Napster88. I am Ro. Dark Nuz S2, thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, exactly. Like cops weren't. Yeah, in the future, cops weren't hard ass enough to sell a crime. That was the thing in the '80s. Is like these cops, they're just like pussies now. Like they don't even like shoot people in the back. There's no more Dirty Harrys. It's like there was a backlash to the Dirty Harry, but they still kept making cop movies. But all the cops like paused for a second or had to have a scene where they get chewed out for blowing up something. Which I like. I kind of like. I think that's good. When you go back and watch Predator, for example. Now you see all those big burly dudes, and you think, oh, these are like black ops guys, spec op guys, and they are. But their thing is like they get mad because the CIA, Carl Weathers' character, tricks them into like killing some militia, some rebel force. When that's not what they do. They say, we don't do this. We don't just go in and wipe people out. We do rescue missions. We are supposed to be rescuing hostages. Now, if we got to shoot somebody up, we're going to shoot them up. But that's not, our job isn't just going around killing people. Which RoboCop's going on strike in RoboCop 2? I haven't seen RoboCop 2 in forever. I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, actually. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I've seen RoboCop 1 absolutely since then. Love it. But I haven't seen RoboCop 2, so I don't remember much of it aside from the violence and the special effects. I don't think I ever watched 3. I watched the TV show. The syndicated TV show, which was all right for a syndicated TV show sequel to an old R-rated movie. Death by Roar, thank you so much for the follow. 3 is bad. Yeah, I've heard nothing but bad things about 3. I've heard nothing but bad things about 3. I don't think I watched it. That was back in the day when if there was a bad sequel to a movie that you liked, you just didn't watch it. Because that was it. You didn't have to you just skipped that one, you didn't watch it. You didn't have to watch it because next month the next sequel is going to be out, and then the web series, and then the next sequel, and then the next sequel, and then the web series. It wasn't like that. You just like, oh wow, that Jason movie looks kind of crappy. I'm not going to see that one. That was made in a time where all the bad guys in movies were Japanese. That was a pretty cool time. I feel like the Yakuza era, when Hollywood find out that Yakuza were a thing and they just made a bunch of movies, put them in everything. That was kind of fun. And it didn't have the Cold War implications, obviously, that the de facto villains of like Russia had, or the ones that came, or the terrorists, the racism of the terrorists. It was just kind of, there's some bad dudes over there in Japan. Not all of Japan, obviously, but there's some bad dudes, and sometimes you don't want to fuck with those dudes. You do not want to tangle with those Yakuza. But thank y'all so much for joining us today. Wonderful to have you. As you see, we're going to be doing streams almost every day if we can, right after Jack AM, and also Saturdays, of course, at 3 p.m. We do the wrestling show, and we'll do random stuff too. So if you haven't followed, follow. If you haven't subscribed, hey, I think you're going to get your money worth. You're going to get your money worth from Struggle Session, because we're doing more and more. And see, there's Taco. Oh, you can't see him. Taco. There you go. I do have snacks for Taco. There you go. Here you go. Here's a treat. There, eat. There you go, Taco. Taco. Thank you, Death Dying, for the follow. How about we do this? Every time we get a sub or donation or some bits, Taco gets a treat. Taco just within limits, within limits. We don't want him getting sick. We don't want him getting sick. But if he's in here, sometimes he hangs out in here, sometimes he doesn't. I think he always wants to hang out in here, but he's kind of
paid for by the New
very,
World
he can be
Order.
very shy around me. But if I leave, he will just cry. He will just cry and for me. But when I'm around, he's like, "Oh, you're the alpha guy." Like if I can't sit down next to him without him moving because he's afraid. Like he thinks he's gonna get in trouble. You're not, buddy. You can sit right here. It's okay. Thurston Falco, thank you so much for the sub, and Taco gets another treat. Oh, that was actually a gifted sub from an anonymous gifter. Thank you. Well, Taco gets a treat for that. RoboCop 3, Rip Torn. I don't. I don't. See, I have been reevaluating movies lately, as I think everyone has, because you have nothing else to do. There's no movies coming out. I caught a little bit of Aeon Flux yesterday, and it was pretty decent. Obviously, that's a movie, the film adaptation starring Charlize Theron, directed by Karen Kusama. Not a perfect movie, but pretty interesting. Lots of cool technology. Think the editing really hurt some of the action scenes at times, but they set them up pretty well. They set up like the little arena where the last fight happens in is very good. Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's worth checking out. I like it. I dig it. I dig it as a movie. I think Karen Kusama is a really great director, and unfortunately, she had to fight with the studio a lot. The Razor Grass is an amazing invention. Surprised that has not been ripped off since. I used to love. I'm gonna do a stream at some point. We're gonna do a late night one where we're just gonna watch the Aeon Flux cartoons, like we used to back in the day. Some liquid television vibes. Jurassic Park 3, okay. Not sucking that much. Batman vs. Superman and Avatar proved that melodrama is good. I think people forgot that melodrama is what you want to see. Melodrama is what you want to see. That old fucking CW, WB, soap opera shit. I mean, people got it, I guess, when they were watching Game of Thrones. No, actually, people didn't get it at first. I feel like people didn't get that Game of Thrones was just a soap opera at first. Eventually, by the end, they did, and then they decided to hate it. Radio Free SD, thank you so much for joining us. Give me your ad. Give me your ad. I sent you an email back about your ad, so I can get that in the rotation. Just started watching The Expanse. I'm getting on The Expanse. I am getting on The Expanse. I promise you I'm getting on The Expanse. I may even just watch, when I'm watching, I may just stream it here since you can do watch parties. But I'm going to get on The Expanse, I promise. MCU CIA Discourse. Jack and I are going to have to do another Don't Let People Enjoy Things app. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the only thing I can think of, because these motherfuckers are getting out of hand. It's like a two-pronged attack from the Disney people. It's like they're trying to quash down on any like fans or critics who poke fun at how fucking goofy WandaVision looks, or the fact that the CIA is the hero of Black Panther. But they're also like putting their thumb on the actors too. Did you see they started a trend, R.I.P. Jeremy Renner. They started they're literally wishing death on fucking Hawkeye a few months probably before they're all gonna line up to watch the Hawkeye TV show. And they're literally wishing death. They're not wishing death on Hawkeye. They're wishing death on Jeremy Renner, the guy who plays Hawkeye. Now, I know he's like a douchebag in real life or something, but I think that may be a little too far. I feel like they were able to take out Gina Carano, and they keep reminding Pedro Pascal in a really creepy way, like he could be next if he fucks up, right? Like they keep doing they were like, because months before Gina Carano actually got fired, they would try to trend that Gina Carano was canceled, and also at the same time trend that Pedro Pascal is a woke king. They would do both, and it's really creeps me out, like, because they're trying. It really is fucking creepy. It really is fucking creepy. Yeah, Jeremy Renner, piece of shit. But none of the tweets were about Jeremy Renner. Like you, if you look at the trend, you would not know anything about Jeremy Renner other than Disney fans don't like him. That's the only thing you would learn. They just don't like him. And so like I don't know what's going on with the Disney fans. But I want nothing to do with them. In fact, all the Disney takes, they're staying on the pod. They're staying on Struggle Session. Sesh.plus. Please check it out. It on Twitter, God help you. They were getting Gretchen like a motherfucker for saying that you, like, please don't call art content. Like, the most basic, Gretchen Felker Martin, Scumbelievable, wonderful writer. Please, Scumbelievable, you can find on Patreon or Twitter. And they were just lining her up for saying, please stop calling art content. Like, just, I don't know. But the Disney fans, I feel like, are on the rise online. They're no longer embarrassed. They're no longer holding back. So just stay safe out there. Be careful out there what you say about Disney. Oh, Dace, thank you so much for checking out the commentary. I'm glad it helped you enjoy the movie a little bit more. Talking about it with Jack made me enjoy certain elements of it more. Not that you don't have to like the movie, but it's kind of nice to talk about movies with friends and learn about them and learn new ways to appreciate them. That's one of my favorite things about doing Struggle Session. Hey, you heard me. If you've been a long time listener to the show, I was not a prequels fan, really. Certainly not episode 1. I was not a fan of episode 1. Before I did the show, the commentary, watching them with Jack, watching them with Bugman, and that made me, come to a little bit new of appreciation for them. And got me to rewatch them and see, like, yeah, in this new context, 10, 15 years later, hey, not so bad. In fact, let me pull this up because I thought this was really cool. I saw this. This is like the opposite of Disney, of the Disney way of doing things, of the Disney fandom doing things. Let me pull this up. I saw this video and was like, oh, this. Well, not the opposite. They do this too, but it had the opposite effect on me. It had the opposite effect of all the Disney fan stuff. So let me see if I can pull that up. Get that audio going. All right. Let me pull this up. I saw this and it just made my heart smile. I don't know why. There was just something about this video that just made me so happy. Let's check this out. This little Anakin fan clip set to Doja Cat. Talking about other bitches trying to get with my dude. I don't know why that just tickled me yesterday. That just tickled me so much. Anakin Drip, that's exactly it. Streets by Doja Cat is a dope track. Is a dope track. Watch out for DMCA. Yes, I do. But I think... Let me see. Yep. So this is a tip. If you're doing your own streams, you can set this up yourself. If you go into advanced audio properties on OBS, you can probably Google this, but you can set it so that certain things don't go into VOD, so you don't have to worry as much about DMCA, at least after the fact. After the fact, you don't have to worry about it. So, yeah, my VOD isn't going to be muted because every piece of music I play on the stream, all the videos I watch, don't go to the VOD. They go to you live, but they don't get recorded to the VOD. So I have that set up, so I don't have to worry about that. If Jack doesn't have that set up, tell Jack on Jack AM. You can do that. I'm sorry, like you say, oh, I wanted to be Anakin when he was a kid. See, I was older. I think I was 8. I was a senior in high school when episode 1 came out because our whole senior class skipped. Our senior skip day. We all skipped school and went to see episode 1. Not because we were all Star Wars fans, just because it happened to come out at the same time that senior skip day was. So we just all went to see Star Wars. We were like, what are we going to do when we skip school? I don't know. Guess we'll go to the movies. Yeah, so I didn't get Anakin fandom really until now. I kind of get, oh yeah, he is kind of a cool guy. I dig him. I dig growing up Anakin a lot. So I like these videos. Gina Carano drip. You know, if I'm a Gina. You know, people know I'm a Gina Carano fan. Obviously, problematic fave, but that's what Struggle Session is all about. We have problematic faves here. I'm a huge fan, but yeah, love the Anakin drip. Great chatting with y'all. If y'all are cool, we can get in some Dark Souls. Oh, did Disney? Let me go back in the chat. I missed a couple of chat things. Did Disney do a hit job on the prequels to drop the value of Star Wars and bought them up? Yes, 100% believe that conspiracy theory. 100% believe that. 100% believe that. Oh, Chris, it sucks that the 2 trailblazers for women's MMA suck so bad in real life. I mean, like, yeah, Haywire, great film. Oh. Haywire, great film. Again, if you give any tips or bits or subs, Taco will get a treat. That's the rules. That's the rules. Yeah, MMA is Facebook culture. MMA is very Facebook culture. It's very Minion Death Cult. Could be an MMA podcast. They could do their podcast just based off of following MMA fighters. And that's really what she got fired for. She got fired for posting like an MMA fighter. She got fired for posting like an MMA fighter. She was reposting memes that she get from the other goofy MMA fighters, and that's what got her. She forgot that she wasn't an MMA fighter. She thought, and she forgot that she was a Disney princess, that she was a part of the Mickey Mouse Club. She forgot that. Gina forgot that, sadly. But did you see that what Bill Burr got on his podcast and was like, well, she was actually really nice. That's kind of bullshit that she got fired for. But then he also said, wait, I got to watch my mouth because I'm on this show. I might get in trouble. He was very open about the fact that he wanted to talk just enough shit about it to not get that phone call himself. Cheese Slice 76, you know, the actual execution of producing the film is bad, but they have a good foundation. You know, I used to think that. I do disagree. I think, the execution is pretty good for the most part too. There's parts of episode 1 I don't love, but after that, I'm pretty once Darth Maul pulls out the double blades, I'm like, I'm good with the rest, more or less. Yeah, Pedro certainly likes her. Favreau certainly likes her on a personal level. So this was not like... So the concept is supposed to be that you fire a racist because they're going to be racist to their coworkers or somebody who works in them. Like, that's generally supposed to be the idea. But this was more of a pure firing on, you said something offline, which doesn't have any reflection on your actual behavior at work with other people. And I said this a couple times on the Katie Halper show, like, that no one had anything really bad to say about Gina Carano before this. None of the people who worked with her, none of the fans or anything. No one really she's not like, some of these other right wing people who are fucking assholes interpersonally. But this was, if it was anonymous on the message board, we wouldn't know about it. Yeah, we wouldn't. And I think, yeah, I don't know if that's the standard, but that can be part of it, right? Like if she had, like, it didn't bleed over into the work at all. It just embarrassed the company, right? And so that's all it was. And so Disney obviously not heroes for it. Originally I did say like, oh yeah, I can understand why they did it, but then I find out that actually she didn't get the warnings that we thought she was getting. She just got it. Like she made that first post and they told her apologize, and then months later with this last post they were like, you fired. And I think that's and they told her on and she found out she was fired in like the news. So it started off like, oh yeah, well, Gina Carano obviously trying to get fired, but then when the more of the story came out, it's like, no, this is just kind of Disney bullshit, and they'll probably do the same thing to someone else for like posting about like abortion rights or saying something very mean about Republicans. I feel like that's what that's gonna be. Yeah, no real person gave a shit. No real person gave a shit. I gave it a little bit of a shit, you know, as a fan of Gina Carano. Want her to do better. But yeah, it wasn't just or criticizing Biden. I think that might be the next one. Like Bill Burr getting fired next for going too hard on Biden might be the thing. Jeez, how is Bill Burr working for Disney if Gina Carano gets in trouble? Do these people listen to the Bill Burr show? Do they know who Bill Burr is? Do they know anything about Bill Burr? Maybe the Disney fans just like Bill Burr and they haven't tried to cancel him. Gee, that's a big... Wow, they really overlooked... The Disney stands are really overlooking a prime target to put on their mantle by not going after Bill Burr. Ugh, they could definitely find some stuff to end Bill Burr on. Criticizing Biden is elderly abuse. We have heard some of that. I have seen some of that. I've seen some of that. Yeah, it's part of his brand, so he kind of gets a pass. Like Bill Burr being a fucking asshole, kind of gets him a pass. Harvard effing with Cornel West. That's the real cancel culture. That's the only kind of cancel culture that's real, really. Actually, no, Bill Burr is he's probably a one and done character. Well, they brought him on in 2 seasons. Yeah, they brought him back in 2 seasons. I think I didn't watch all of it, all of Mandalorian. I didn't like it, but I think he was in 2 separate seasons. They did bring him back and fleshed out his character, and the fans really liked his character too. So I would be surprised if he didn't come back and do more stuff, unless he's the Disney stans go after him. Yeah, Cornel West does talk about love and loving his enemies, and I think that's okay. I think we need somebody out there talking about loving their enemies. We need at least one person doing it, right? Like, I think we need one person talking about Brother Trump, Brother Bill Maher. It's okay to have one guy doing that. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I understand. I'm much more on the fuck you, I don't give a shit what happens to you kind of vibe. But you know, someone can lead with love. Maybe not me, but Cornel West. Go ahead. Bill Maher. I think I think most celebrities do smell good. I think. I mean, it's easy. It's easy, right? Like, it's easy to smell good if you're rich and be well-groomed. If you're rich, you have people to take care of you. You have people to put deodorant on for you, to scrub you in the shower. It's easy. It's easy. What Cardinal West, Marianne Williamson, 2024. How do I get an on-screen avatar? So, let's see. We have 87 viewers. It's limited to... There is a limit. I don't know what it is without turning it off. But what I can do, I'm gonna give everybody a fair shot. Is a limit just because of bandwidth? All right. So max was 80. So I just disconnected, and then I'll reconnect it. And if you're active, if you're active in the chat, you should get one. If you're active in the chat, you should get one. There should be notifications going up as well as like an extension telling you how to change your avatar or move your avatar. That should all be there for you on the user end. Rich people can have bad breath. Bad breath on rich people, not unusual, I believe. Bad breath on rich people. That's definitely a thing. Because that you're not gonna be able to get somebody to brush your teeth for you. You're eating caviar all the time. Dendrinochrome, ketones, yes. Yeah, they just did the avatar extension link if you want to check it. Sulfur breath. But yeah, rich people can have horrible breath, but I think they generally smell well. In fact, I asked someone who met Trump what he smelled like, and no, he just smelled like some decent cologne. They have good colognes. They have all the stuff. They have all the stuff to stay together. We're not going to get them for that, except for the ones. And I'm not going to name the actor. But you probably heard. You can probably guess. It's a major. He plays a major superhero. And he's just one of those natural guys. You met him in college. And he just is not down with deodorant. And so, there you go. So, he kind of smells, but by choice. Not Tom Jane. I'm sure Tom Jane smells like sandalwood, charcoal and sandalwood. Not Kason Baboa, but you're very hot. Not gonna say who. Very hot. Jason Momoa. Very hot on the Jason Momoa. Very hot when you say Jason Momoa, but not Jason Momoa. And I'm not gonna out this man. I mean, people already make enough fun of him. I don't want to add this to it. People make enough fun of this guy, so I'm not gonna add to it. Oh, celebrity smells. That's more of a hot and rich topic. Maybe we can get Kate in on this. We need to get Kate in on this, on what celebrity smells. But Jason Momoa is very hot. That's the hottest guest so far. That's the hottest guest. Oh, it's definitely not The Rock. I mean, come on. It's definitely not The Rock. Smells good. The Rock smells good. Maybe fresh out the gym, whatever. But I think The Rock takes like 3 or 4 showers a day. I think The Rock takes like 3 or 4 showers a day. He's fine. He talks too much shit. Here's the thing about The Rock. The Rock talks too much shit to have any kind of real flaws. I even bet The Rock's breath smells good. Because I know if he was on the set with fucking Lugada or Tyrese on fucking Fast, and they already don't like him, and they fucking dragged his ass. I know The Rock stays on point. He's too big, too handsome, too successful. He's got to keep up appearances. The one I was talking about, this is, plays a superhero, pretty decent size celebrity, but not one. You wouldn't be surprised to hear that they don't use deodorant. Let me just say that. It would not be a surprise whatsoever to hear that this person doesn't use deodorant. Keith Urban smells good. Cigars, and he probably smells rich. Arnold probably does smell like cigars and dad cologne. Arnold probably smells very good. Arnold, I suspect, smells very good, actually. Mark Ruffalo, I don't know about, but I do feel Mark Ruffalo is more of a, forget to shower today guy. I feel like Mark Ruffalo is probably a forget to shower today guy. Not that he smells bad, but it's just not the number one thing for him. It's just not the number one thing for him. Best smelling celebrities. I think Arnold would probably be up there. Not necessarily best smell, but he probably, yeah, you're right. He probably smells like your dad having a good cigar and a nice whiskey and a cologne that he could never afford. You know, that's what Arnold probably smells like. Like your dad, but rich. You know, with not too bad. Jennifer Aniston, probably a very good smelling celebrity. Charlize Theron, you know, even though she's very into, you know, physicality, martial arts, had no problem working with sweat, probably smells very good too. I think most celebrities, most rich people smell very good unless they just don't want to. Celebrity smell. You see, that is a show I would want to see. I would want to see regular people smelling celebrities and then judging them. I would like to see that. Instead of fucking us having to play, like, crawl on our hands and knees, grabbing up pennies for Ellen's entertainment, we should have a game show where regular people get to start digging into celebrity shit and judging them. Like things like smell, you know, the condition of their bathroom, what's in the medicine cabinet, you know. Do you got the blue water in there? Where are the towels placed? When's the last time this? Obviously, most of these people have cleaners to do this for them, so they're gonna pass with flying colors. But then maybe you gotta go to the second house. You go to the apartment in New York and you see what's going on. The one that they only get the cleaning crew in once a week instead of having them live there. That's what the show should be. It should be us going in and judging celebrities. Like, actually, you know, for a multimillionaire, you don't smell that good, Tom Cruise. What is cologne? Does Zeno not like cologne or something? Bartenders and flight attendants, of course, are very good. Very, very good sources on this. I'd be surprised. I think I've actually read a Reddit thread specifically about this. I bet there is a Reddit thread specifically about this because, yeah, if you serve celebrities, you will smell celebrities. Destructionator. Yeah, that might be a Tilda. I feel like you call it Tilda Swinton, depending on her mood. I think. I don't remember what he smells like, but Gene Simmons. I remember. I was on a flight with him once, with Gene Simmons from Kiss, and the flight attendants were quite impressed with his charm. They were quite impressed with his charm. What I noticed was that he opened up a little bag of like gummies that they gave out in first class. And this wasn't like a 747 or anything. This was a regional jet. So like first class is shit on this. And he opened up the little gummies and like was carefully separating them out before eating them. It was very particular and very strange thing to do. He seemed quiet. He seemed tired, but the flight attendants, I guess, when they were talking to him, said he was very, very charming and nice. Oh, the Richard Simmons pocket. Richard Simmons is missing. I never listened to that. Richard Simmons is always working up a sweat. Not can't blame him for smelling bad. He's always working with sweat. That's what they used to say about that's what they also say about Kenta Kobashi, legendary Japanese pro wrestler. He's always sweating because he's always working out. Like even like when he's coming for like press conferences and stuff. And he doesn't even wrestle anymore. He's tired from wrestling. But they keep talking about like every chance he gets, he's like working out. And he's not the biggest or the buffest guy. He's just one of those guys that just like is just just in shape, like the pre-Arnold type of the pre WWF superstar type wrestler body type. We need to get back to that. When the working out be just about the glamour muscles? It used to be like you would just like the dad bod, basically, right? Like you would just like have a buff dad bod. That used to be a thing. We need to bring that back. We need to bring that back. We need to bring it back. Can't all be Kumail, a 40-year-old comedian with 8-pack. You know, like that didn't used to be like. It used to be the standard you have to live up to. Like, it used to be like, are you strong enough to pick up both of your kids? Like that used to be with ease. That used to be the standard. You know, are you strong enough to like carry your family out of a burning building? And that used to be the standard. Now it's like an 8-pack. Yeah. Yeah, you need to bring back thick boys, thick strong boys. Tommy Wiseau. Tommy Wiseau. Trying to imagine what he smells like. I feel like he smells like Tommy Wiseau. Tommy Wiseau. You're definitely gonna smell a lot of the shampoo. I feel like but he's not gonna have a fruity shampoo. He's gonna have a very earthy shampoo. That's probably what gonna strike you first. Tobacco. I feel like even if he doesn't smoke, I feel like he smells like tobacco. Smells like a vampire, and not that he's an old guy, but he's gonna something about him feels like the old world. Something about him feels like the old world, so he's gonna smell kind of like Dracula, just this like an old house, and not a bad smell, but just an old smell. Just an old smell. I feel like not a bad smell, not putting down the man. Smells like a couch, maybe. Yeah. Not necessarily a bad smell, just a smell. You know that a character building smell, a character building smell. Some people like it, some people won't, but you're gonna be interested. You know. Yeah, I think we or the backseat of an old car. Exactly, backseat of an old car. Yeah, backseat of an old car. Strong smell. Not necessarily good, not necessarily bad. You know, you can deal with it. Or it might bother you. You might want to put some air freshener. Or maybe not. Maybe you get in the back of the seat and you say, oh, this reminds me of, the good old days. This reminds, if I got in the back in an old car and smelled that old car smell now, I would be like, that kind of reminds me of some things. That would bring back some fond memories. And I feel like that's what you get from, you're going to get from Tommy Wiseau. You're going to get that sense, that aroma from him. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that from Tommy. Man, we've been chatting for an hour. We haven't even gotten into our game. Should change the name of the show to Smell Talk. So a Ford F-150, some old dude who smokes has owned for 30 years, and you just can't get the smell out. That's probably close to Tommy Wiseau. And I feel like a smoke smell can be very offensive when it's fresh, but when it's kind of old, it's not as bad. At least my dad smoked. My dad smoked Marlboro Reds, so actually even smelling like a fresh Marlboro Red makes me kind of happy. But an old Marlboro like truck, oh dude, I would love it. I would love it. I would like. If I go on Carvana, I would want a filter where it's like, all right, does it have old cigarette smell? How old? Which cigarettes? Winston's for your old man. Hell yeah. Nostalgic smells. Yeah. No, no smells are bad. It's not just beautiful smells, and then some smells are neutral or have there's more character to smell than just good and bad or pleasant and unpleasant. Thank you so much for the follow, Juicebox0134. I'm gonna give Taco a little treat because he's being a good boy. He's being good. Ain't that right, Taco? Being a good boy. Okay. Taco's a very good boy. We're gonna get a Taco cam set up eventually. Right now, he's just in the corner behind the logo. Poor guy. They want to see. Maybe I can. Let's see. Maybe I can get this for you. Taco. Oh. Then he laid down. Now I turned off my logo so you could see him a little bit better, but then he just laid down on the ground. You can just see his high in the quarters now. Taco's tired. My dad still sits in his garage reading the Bible and Tom Clancy type books, just blasting Winston. Wow, I think your dad and my dad probably would have gotten along. Your dad and my dad would have gotten along. My dad didn't sit in the garage, and he did eventually give up smoking. Hopefully you can get your dad to give up smoking. But he did eventually give up smoking. But yeah, the Bible, yeah, he was a reverend, and he loved all the thrillers, all the Tom Clancy stuff, David Baldacci. What's the lady who does the A, B, C, D? All her books have like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The title. I think all the ones that have all the numbers in the title. My dad would read like one of those like a day. I would install like hundreds of all those mystery ebooks on there. Like maybe sue someone. You know, all the authors that when you look at their book on the shelf, their name is bigger than the title of the book. My dad used to love that shit. He would just read it all day, and he didn't start off when I was younger. He actually was more. He would read more horror, from what I remember. He would read, and it kind of instilled in me a love of horror too. But when he got older, he didn't read as much of it. He was more into the airport novels. But I remember the Necroscope series, the Sue Grafton, yeah, the Necroscope series. My dad used to read that, and I eventually read it too. But the covers for it would just blow me as like when I was like 5 or 6. Let's see if I can pull that up. Actually, let's look at the covers. Let me see. Let's pull that up. Give me 1 second, folks. Browser scene. We're gonna pull up the browser scene. We're gonna look at the browser scene, see what that's about. Make sure it's on the right window. We're doing it live, folks. We're doing it live. Everyone, thank you so much for the follow, the subs, the tips. Taco thanks you too. Every time that happens, Taco's gonna get a treat. Okay. All right. We're back. Ooh, that's too small. We're gonna get that up. And it's in the foreground. We need to move it to the background, but not too far back. All right. Above the local video. Okay, so let's see. Brian Lumley's Necroscope. I love that Google. Let me see. Maybe I can just zoom in. Like every time you click on a picture, it just changes. All right, tool size large. Okay, so here we go. I used to love this series. That cover is so fucking sick. That cover is so sick. All right, here we go. Yeah. Bam. All right. Necroscope. I used to love these covers. Used to love these covers when I was a little kid. Jesus Christ, I hate Google. All right, here we go. Yeah. You have to click 3 times. All right. Look, I mean, imagine you're like 5 or 6 and you're seeing your dad reading this. Imagine Jan Ivanovich. Yeah, my dad was into that. Yeah, I think that was it. I think it was Janet. I think it was Janet, not the other one. Not Sue. Sue Grafton, what did she do? I think maybe she does something different. But yeah, Necroscope. And let's see, what is it? Like, and all of them have like covers like this. Just absolutely sick covers. Like this one. With the fucking werewolf in a giant, huge fucking werewolf skull. Maybe it was Sue too. I'll have to look up. I kept my dad's old tablet with all his books on it, and I just kept all the books and the music he had on it. Just I just wanted to keep it. It's just an old tablet, no real use, but I just it was his and he used it a lot. And actually, when he passed, I was able to play some of his music for him in the hospital when he passed away. So kind of sentimental value for a tablet. But yeah, Brian Lumley, I gotta write him an email about this because he's getting up there, and I need to tell him how much his books meant to me and to my dad at some point. But yeah, all the Necroscope books have just great covers, and for if you haven't read Necroscope and you like horror, I would definitely check it out. It's like Lovecraftian infused a vampire story. So the vampires, as opposed, like most vampires, right, are like they're not typical vampires. They're like they're like a infestation in you. They're like a parasite. So if you become a vampire, you actually get implanted with the egg, and the egg is itself is actually the vampire, and it takes over your control of your mind and your body, and it allows you to change your form and mold your flesh like the Thing. So all the vampires, as opposed to just being, just being like your regular Dracula vampires with fangs, they can also transform themselves with some effort into like 8-foot tall beast men, and is very, very creepy. Oh yes, scientific explanation for supernatural horror, very Cold War era. Like I really, very gruesome, very gruesome, very gruesome stuff in this book. Really creepy stuff. In these books, I absolutely love these books. They're not the best writing you're ever gonna read. But the ideas are very solid. The journey is very solid. It has a definitive beginning and end. You will. All you gotta do is read 5 books, maybe 4 or 5 books to get to the end. And then there's supplementary stuff you can get into if you want. But it really is based on this one guy, Harry Keough, his life, and his many deaths. Actually, I should say. The many times he died, but there is a beginning and an end to this, and really wraps up nicely. So if you're looking for a pulpy kind of horror read, I would definitely recommend it. A very interesting take on the vampire mythos. Actually, yes, Monster Chalk. The Tizminski vampires and Vampire the Masquerade are based on these vampires. They Vampire the Masquerade, one of the vampire clans in Vampire the Masquerade is based off of Lumley's conception of the vampire as like this Lovecraftian entity where it's not just about drinking blood, but you can actually mold your flesh and mold the flesh, and they build these like war beasts out of their victims, like these giant creatures that they have crafted to fly or do battle or stuff. Is really fun stuff. And then the vampires all come from like an alternate world that there's just like a couple of portals between our worlds, like almost like a Buffy style hell dimension, even though this was before, obviously. Maybe similar to the planet on in Phantasm, but it's like these two worlds that are battling, and the vampires sometimes come in our world, not as an army or invading force, usually like one at a time. And it only takes one vampire to really fuck things up for everybody. You want to play the new Masquerade game? Well, be patient, I guess. Yeah, read Necroscope one of these days. It's a pretty decent read, and it's a fast read. It's a thriller novel. It is like a bit like an airport novel, but horror. All very fun. Yeah, monsters are really alien. Yeah, there's no actual there is some supernatural, I guess. So there is one supernatural conceit in Necroscope, which is that the dead keep living in a certain state after they die. Your consciousness does survive, but it's actually kind of horrifying and bad. It's not like you don't get to go to heaven, you don't get to go to hell, you don't get to go anywhere when you die. You just kind of keep existing for forever, alone, mostly in solitude. It's really kind of creepy. I think ghosts can talk to each other, but they can't talk to most humans unless you are a necroscope. Yeah, they are super bored. They are super bored, and they can talk to this guy named Harry, and like they are willing to help Harry because he can talk to him. He's like the only person who can talk to him, like your ghost whisperer, like your medium, you know. And they like her. I scope dead people. Exactly. That's it. The Sixth Sense. But actually, the ghosts are, on the whole, more helpful. They're like not always asking him to do stuff like the ones in Medium or Sixth Sense. All the other stuff the ghosts are always asking him to do, asking the ghost whisperer or whatever to do stuff. But in this one, they're not like asking people, mostly not asking people to like solve their murder or anything. They're just kind of like, oh, hey, Harry, what's it like out there in the living world? How's it going? And they start teaching. He like starts finding famous ghosts who were like philosophers or skilled. He finds Pythagoras, and Pythagoras has been like the entire, since the a couple thousand years since he's been dead, he's still been working on math. And so he teaches Harry all the new maths he's come up with that lets him do cool shit in the world. It's very fun stuff. Very, very fun book series with lots going on. I would definitely recommend. Let me pull it up again so you know. Necroscope. That's book 3, the source where they actually go back to the vampire planet dimension. Dimension is a bit too strong, I think. But not quite just something. It's just like, it almost feels like there's 2 Earths and you can just transport from one to the other. They have different landscapes and layouts, but one is ruled by vampires and the other is where the vampires come from. Our Earth is the one ruled by vampires, not in the book, just in reality, right? And then there's this other Earth where the vampires actually come from. And it sucks there too, like because they all live. They're kind of enslaved by the vampires, so they're like, it's like a feudal system. And but the vampires let the humans kind of live in their own little tribal communities, but every so often they just come down and eat you or snatch you to turn you into, like, they actually turn humans and flesh into their buildings. They build buildings out of human flesh. So if they capture you, they will like stretch out your flesh as like a wall, you know, a nice accent wall. They would make like a nice accent wall out of you, and some of your and as long as that wall is living, you get to live. You get to live as a wall. Obviously, your higher level of consciousness has been eradicated, but that's what happens when they turn you into a war beast. That's what they do. And Hellraiser elements, yeah, it is very similar to the Hell in Hellraiser. I think it is pretty comparable. The vampire world is pretty similar to the Hell in Hellraiser, without, you know, the magical, as much as the magical supernatural elements of it. Man, I love fucking Necroscope. I love the series, and my dad, just seeing my dad read these books, and then when I got to high school, I think I started reading the books for myself, and it was just a blast. I did a book report on it once, and I got to tell them about like all the violent shit that happens in it. I think it was in maybe 9th grade. I did my book report on it, on the second part, where, and these books are not for, these books are for adults. There's lots of sex, lots of violence, lots of fucked up shit happens in them. But I did a book report on them. I got to report because one of the characters, the villain, is a necromancer, but in the Lumley configuration, in order to be a necromancer, you have to like dig in the guts of the dead person to torture them, or you can lick their eyeballs to kind of learn things from them. It like all like very bloody, creepy stuff, very visceral stuff. It's not, the Necroscope books are not, you know, one of these horror books that's about ethereal entities, even though he is heavily influenced by Lovecraft, and he has collections of stories based in the Lovecraftian mythos, but he's a blood and guts guy. He's a blood and guts Lovecraft writer, and he gets into the ultra violence in ways that Lovecraft doesn't as often. Authentic to the high school emotional experience. Pizza Hut was better in the 90s when they made their hut roofs out of Italian authenticity. I read the James Bond books when I was 10 because I liked the movies. Only sort of got them. I did the same thing. I think I read Dracula in middle school because I just like vampires, and I was like, let me read Dracula then for this book report. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Actually, it's still one of my favorite books. Only horror you've ever gotten into is Stephen King. Wow, you've got some more horror to read maybe, because I actually find Stephen King fairly difficult to get into on a book by book basis. Obviously, he's the most popular guy, but I feel like there are horror writers that are more immediately accessible than Stephen King. Not that he's hard to read, but every Stephen King book you have to read 200 pages about Maine before you get to the story. So I don't think So if you can get through Stephen King, I have not actually read a lot of Stephen King. So if you can do Stephen King, there's probably a lot of horror stuff that you might be more into. Because Stephen King, he just writes those massive books. I got a lot of Stephen King here. Let's see. Like this bad boy. It's kind of a contradiction. I mean, not a contradiction, but a tension with Stephen King that he is like one of the most popular, successful writers. But this is what he's doing. You don't need all this for a horror book. You don't need all this for a horror book. You do not. There's a reason horror is usually like these little light paperbacks. This is Frankenstein. Which still holds up as a very good book. If you have not read, if they didn't get you to read Frankenstein in high school, it is worth going back to. It's actually a good book. This is Stephen King. You ain't gotta do all that. Stephen. Like this is all the parts that's about Maine. This is the parts that are about Maine. About growing up in Maine, and then here's the horror book here. As you can see clearly from this scientific demonstration, the main parts of the average Stephen King book are longer than Frankenstein, which started the whole thing. Started the whole fucking weird fiction thing and science fiction. And this is even a knock on Stephen King. Obviously, a lot of people love Stephen King. And I love some Stephen King. In fact, I liked Revelation. Revelation was one he recently did. And it's very short. Could have been a short story. Still too long, but it could have been a short story. But that one was very good. I really like that. Let me make sure that's the name of it, because I do want to Revival was it? Yeah, let me pull this bad boy up. So this one by Stephen King, that's a really good one. Revival by Stephen King is dope. Is legitimately a dope book. I would recommend it. Please No Bully, thank you so much for the follow. Cosmic Yawn, 101 free vinyls. Thank you so much for the follow. Egregious Fuck Up, Juicebox 0134. I think I shouted y'all out already, but shout out again. Stephen King, very simplistic prose, nothing too complex. He tells you everything, no subtext anywhere. Now, I will defend Stephen King a little bit. He can write he could write differently. He can write in a bit more purple way. If you don't believe me, read the last chapter of Salem's Lot, which is basically a Lovecraft tribute short story, and I think it's very good, and it's very different than the typical writing of Stephen King. I think he could do a lot more. He's got the most game hours in of anybody. He's got the most gameplay hours in of anybody. He can write however he wants. I think if he really wanted to write differently, he could. But I think he's kind of he sticks to what he knows and what sells. Obviously, it sells. So I was talking about the tension. Like why was this the horror guy? Why was this big ass book the horror book everybody wanted? Don't think I have any more horror stuff over here. Oh. Cormac McCarthy's Pulitzer Prize winning The Road, a horror book. It feels shorter than it is. I guess it is a decent sized book. It always feels a lot shorter than it actually is. But then you got this Stephen King, this average Stephen King. Pulitzer Prize winning The Road, average Stephen King. Because they don't go to Maine in The Road. They might pass through it, but they don't talk about it. I don't think they pass through it, actually. They don't go to Maine in The Road, so they kind of get to the action. Stephen King. Stephen King has a couple of short ones. He has a couple of short ones, but it's just odd to me. Well, I guess, he did start off before the internet, right? I guess it's not so odd. Like he was a big writer before there was such a thing as VHS and home movies. And you had 3 channels, so if you're going to get a book, you're going to want a doorstop. You're going to want one that's going to last you, I guess. And with Revival, I think he actually learned a little bit from it. I like that when I point, it's now pointing at the thing. This is neat. I did not plan this, but this is neat. Look at that. Look at that. That's production. That's production. Let's see if I can make this. Stephen King Revival. That's a good one. Check that one out. If you haven't checked out Stephen King in a while, I would definitely recommend that one. It still is too long, but it's fairly short. Oh, you like that he wrote The Road for his son that he had as an overman, basically saying, this shit is rough and you'll be on your own soon. Deckard's goaded at Fortnite. Wouldn't have done any math if he lived today. That's funny. That's funny. The Dead Zone is short and good, and it's early Stephen King when he was still on his game. I think, some of his Richard Bachman stuff, some of those early stuff things are pretty tight, but then something like The Shining is just like, not The Shining, but The Shining's a big one too. Salem's Lot's a big one. I think Salem's Lot, it's big, but I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with its size. Something like The Stand, not the most accessible thing you're gonna find. Salem's Lot is pretty long. It is long. It's longer than it needs to be, but it's pretty good. And it's good. It's good pacing. It's good pacing too. Good, very very good pacing. I feel like Salem's Lot for a long Stephen King is pretty dope. Cujo Book King says he can't remember writing because of how zooty he is. Yeah, the pacing of the vampiric spread is good. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yeah, because just how he paces how these vampires take over the whole town really works well, and it allows him to do all the things that he wants to do and talk about Maine a lot in the book. Smart and cool. Thanks so much for the follow. You don't like Barlow? I like Barlow. Jeb Bench, I like Barlow. And I like both Barlows. I like the one in the movie, in the series, not the movie, the TV, what do you call it, miniseries. I like the one in the first miniseries by Toby Hooper that's just a Nosferatu. I like that one, and that's the one I grew up with. But then I read Salem's Lot and Barlow talks. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I like them, and the TNT version of Salem's Lot has a Barlow that talks, played by the Tears and Rain guy, and that's pretty good. Wait, which one is the most main? Chat blowing up. Needful Things is the most main one. I've never read that one. Stand is one of those books you either get into as a teenager and absolutely love, or you come to it as an adult and simply don't have time. Could definitely see that. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever read the Stand. I don't know if I'll ever read The Stand. I couldn't even do the miniseries. I couldn't even do this miniseries one, and we could have done a show about it, but it's just like I just couldn't do it. I don't care. This story has lots of interesting elements to it, but not that interesting, not that interesting. And I really, I think who did I talk with about this? I'm like, I just got to get this feeling that maybe The Stand is just kind of bad. It's a big book. A lot of stuff happens in it, but like so much of the core elements of it, I just think are absolutely silly. Yeah, the Rob Lowe Salem's Lot is actually good too. The Rob Lowe Salem's Lot is not as good as the Toby Hooper one, but it's good. It's good. It's not a bad time at all. Let me see. Let's see. Maybe Dark Souls might have to wait. We got into some discussions. Let me see. All right, so Google. I kind of want to see a clip. Salem's Lot. Oh fuck! Like just the thumbnail, just the fucking thumbnail. Let me know if y'all hear this. Okay. Let me see. The following announcement. The crucifix thing, I don't know. I think you had to be there. You had to be there. The crucifix is no longer cool in vampire lore. It used to be acceptable. You used to grow up and you just accepted the fact that vampire owned. Love it. What's the quote? Since we're getting into Stephen King, we didn't even know we were going to get into Stephen King. We were talking about The Running Man, didn't even think about the Stephen King element. We can watch some clips of our favorite Stephen King movies. Got a question in the chat, which one you want to see adapted that hasn't been. What is this?
They want us to stay.
Yep, Little Ring Donkey. Talking about Blindside. Blindside, a very good modern vampire story. Sci-fi vampires. For future vampires.
Come on! Go!
Hey, the Pet Sematary adaptations are good. I think the first one's very good. I think the second one's good. And I think the modern one is pretty decent. I like all the Pet Sematary.
coming!
This is the future.
Well, come on, get me out of here, you guys! Well, look out!
Old Mako, thank you so much for the follow. Yep, that's Yaphet Kodo. Absolutely. He does rule. See, this one, I remember it being super excited as a kid. Watching it as an adult is not as good, but it's pretty decent. And if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Underappreciated Arnold now, I believe. I don't think a lot of people talk about this movie. It's not the best, but it's decent. When I think about this, is like, this is what I was watching when I was 8. And like, kids today, like, all they get is fucking, like,
Hey, Killian!
fucking, you know,
Here is Sub-Zero!
Squirrel Girl. And,
Now, Plane Zero!
I don't know. And Iron Man. Iron Man is the cool one now. Iron Man used to be so fucking whack because I was watching shit like this. Because we had fucking Arnold in the real world. Who gives a fuck about Iron Man? You're going to at least come at me with Batman. You're going to have to at least come at me with Batman. And Dark Knight Returns Batman at that. Because I have a real life superhero. Give me a Wolverine, you know? You're going to have to give me a Wolverine. Kids these days, they don't know what they're missing out. There are no R movies now anyway, let alone R-rated movies that you can that you're supposed to watch as a kid without your parents knowing about it. They're just R-rated movies, like the new Coming to America.
That is better.
PG-13.
The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back. It may look like that person, but it ain't that person. Because whatever lives in the ground beyond that cemetery ain't human at all.
Yeah, there's still stuff like The Boys, but yeah, like you said, nobody. It's not on TV. It's not even on streaming. It's on Amazon. Nobody watches it.
Walking up the road towards Yorkie's livery. Lots of folks saw Timmy walking back and forth. But it was Margie who finally came to some of us men folks and said it had to be stopped. She knew it was an abomination. So us men sat down and talked.
Yeah, Milana Vaintrub is cool.
Then we got to my God.
It's fucked up that Marvel fired her, actually. It's fucked up that Marvel was just like, yeah, we were going to change your life, but then decided not to.
Stop it! Timmy, stop it! Stop it!
The place is going up.
Go away!
Get out while you still can, Bill.
Bring down the cans. I got him.
Wait a minute, fellas. Wait a minute. He's a monster, Bill.
Yes. Leave us alone! He's mine, son! Timmy, let's love dead and living! Come on, son! Timmy!
Yeah, she's cool. I'm kind of glad she escaped this. They probably weren't going to pay her that much money anyway for it, so fuck it. She's got that AT&T money now, I think.
They
Now,
stopped
right?
using that burial ground. The ground went sour. Don't think about doing it, Lewis. The place gets holier. But the place is evil. Sometimes dead is better.
Subs not the all those subs not sometimes daddy's better. Not quite work out. What are some other good Stephen King flicks? What's the best? Let's see a top 10. Let's watch one of these top 10s. and see if they're full of shit or not.
Stephen King's books have been adapted to film or
Looper.
television
They're
over
decent,
100
right?
times, making him the all-time king of adaptations from a living author's work. But while some adaptations of his work...
Yeah, it's strange that he's like the number one of all time.
At all.
Carrie is S tier. Carrie is a beautiful movie. Bret Easton Ellis swears that Carrie is like one of the greatest American films of all time, and I don't necessarily disagree. Carrie is amazing, I think.
9 years after appearing together in 1408, which we'll be talking about much later, John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson reunited for Cell. Unfortunately, it wasn't a reunion really worth having. The plot centers on Clay Riddell, a man who's determined to reunite with his son after a malevolent electronic signal turned cell phone users
I didn't
into mindless
finish
killers.
the Cell book.
Along the way,
It
he
just
teams
got
up with
tedious for
train
me.
driver Tom McCourt in order to better their chances
I like the
of
movie
survival.
kind of though.
While the
It's
novel was
not
generally well received for its technophobic take on the zombie trope, the movie suffered a far less positive fate. It stunk.
It's not that.
Graveyard Shift.
Wow, hold up.
1990s Graveyard Shift still-
The Cell movie is not that bad. It's not great by any means, but if it's on cable, watch it. If you're just flipping the channels and you're in the mood for kind of a too low of a budget zombie movie, Cell's fine. It's a good time.
Stands as one of the worst King adaptations. In a main textile
Okay.
mill where a drifter has taken a job, several overnight employees have died.
I actually have
and the
not seen this
egomaniacal
one.
foreman sends the drifter and
have not
others
seen
down
this
into
one.
the basement to investigate. King's short story didn't translate well to the screen.
This
The
looks
saving
kinda cool,
grace of the
actually.
film
This
is a
looks
crazy exterminator played by Brad Dourif.
Belly 2.
That might be the understatement of the year.
You know what?
But even that's not enough to
Cheese
save
Slice, I've been getting into channel flipping again. I got Pluto TV. If you don't have Pluto TV, I don't know what you're fucking doing on the internet. Get Pluto TV. It lets you flip channels. Most of the channels aren't real channels. A lot of them just play episodes of the same show or the same couple of shows over and over again. But it's fun. It's fun to be able to just flip channels and not have to pick exactly what you want to watch and what you're in the mood for at that time and make that commitment. It's nice just picking up. And also what I have the Fire TV stick, and they have live channels on there. If you sub to HBO through Amazon instead of getting the app itself, then they give you the live channels on your Fire TV, so you can watch HBO Live, and it goes for Showtime, Stars, all that stuff. So you get channels that way as well. And of course, there are illegal means of getting every channel in the world. Not in the world, in the English, mostly in the English-speaking world. Pretty much every channel for fairly cheap. Just look up, what do they call it? Well, we do have a struggle session episode about this specifically, but I don't want to recommend any particular brand because this is obviously not a legal thing, so you might give your money and they might have to shut down immediately. So I don't want to be like, you should get this service, it's the best service, because it's not. Because I can't say that about any of them. But what's the name of the web TV? Say web TV. Let me see what my service is. I forget what the technical name for it, but it's basically IPTV. Yeah, that's it. IPTV. So you're going to want to go on Reddit. You're going to want to go on Reddit and see which IPTV company they're saying is the best. Parody. Yes, I was playing a character on that episode. It's called the Piracy episode, Piracy. And if you want every channel that exists for fairly cheap, and that way you're channel flipping. You can't channel flip as much because with IPTV, it's unofficial, so it takes a while just for stuff to load. But if you were in parody going to go to Reddit, look up what's the best IPTV company right now, you're going to get every channel you ever dreamed of for like $20. And you can get, most of them do have apps that you can get on a Fire TV with a soft hack. Very easy stuff. Just installing a couple of apps, jumping through a couple of hoops. and you can get that on your Fire TV stick. You can get it on your phone. That way you can cast it to your Chromecast. And I think you can probably get it on a Roku too. So if you're interested in that and you want to get into channel flipping, you might want to check out IPTV. But Pluto TV, that's free, that's clear. I 100% recommend Pluto TV. I watch the Forensic Files channel all day. I've been watching Forensic Files nonstop all day. I think it's the perfect true crime television show. Each of them 30 minutes. You get in that case and you get out. They don't care if it's a goddamn serial killer. You get 30 minutes. The voice of the announcer, perfect late night voice. Always just soothing, calming. You can go right to sleep. The music, just creepy enough not to creep you out, but still kind of lulls you to sleep. Very somber tones that they use in there. I usually watch YouTube, but I have the all Jerry Springer and Maury Povich channel as my default. I can see that. I can see putting on some Jerry Springer, some Maury, and just vibing out, going about your day. I can see that. Twitch and YouTube also options. Pluto TV is a very good option if you're just like, I just need some shit to watch because I grew up in the 80s or 90s and I need TV on. Pluto TV. Godsend. You might be able to just cut off your cable, cancel a couple of subscriptions, because they're always going to be playing a TV show that you're at least mildly interested in and can put on in the background. Highly recommend. Go ahead and install in Pluto TV just to have you some background noise on if you need it. Yeah, cable. I've been thinking about getting cable since I've moved back to America. Nope. It's incredibly expensive. Does not seem worth it, especially since you gotta pay for all the other stuff too. Because if you get cable, it's not like you didn't get a Netflix channel or the HBO Max channel. You still gotta pay for those. It doesn't really do you any good. Let's get back to this Stephen King countdown.
Thinner. Despite having excellent source material,
I think I saw this
Tom
once.
Holland's
I think I saw
1990
Thinner
adaptation
once.
of Thinner just couldn't pull it off. When an obese and morally bankrupt lawyer, Billy Halleck, accidentally runs
But this
over
seems like it
and
wasn't a
kills
very good
gypsy
story
woman,
to start
he uses
with.
his court connections to get off the hook. The woman's elderly father takes revenge by placing a curse upon Halleck. One which soon has him uncontrollably
nice cast.
losing
That's
weight to
what's
the
her
point
face
of
from
emaciation.
Sliders.
The premise is definitely scary.
Oh, I love
but the
her.
effect
I love
falls
her.
flat on the big screen, especially when we're confronted with the actor in a terribly fake latex fat suit that only gets slightly less hilarious as
Oh,
he
that's a
sheds
bad
the pounds.
suit. Yeah, that is a bad suit.
Maximum Overdrive. Stephen King himself stepped behind the lens for the 1986 adaptation of his own Maximum Overdrive.
It was my first picture as a director, and you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.
Others, however, did not. This movie puts Earth in the tail of a comet, after which once inert machines suddenly come to life and go on a murderous rampage against humans.
Oh, that's an awful idea. That's an awful concept. I can see what the problem is. That was a bad idea, Stephen
At
King.
a truck stop,
Yeah,
a band
very
protagonist
cocaine.
played by Emilio Estevez and an odd assortment of other unremarkable characters settle in to wait out the living trucks that have them pinned down inside. While Maximum Overdrive does have a killer soundtrack from AC/DC and a few neat shots.
So it's
scattered
Christine,
throughout,
but worse,
the movie is still a
right?
maximum
I've never
dud.
seen it.
Needful Things. Although
This
the
is on the
novel
worst
Needful
list?
Things is a
Somebody said it was
favorite
one of the
among
best.
King
I haven't
fans,
seen
the
this one.
1993 film adaptation.
Oh,
of
I guess the
story
book. The
might
book
leave
you're praising,
audiences
the short
ready to
story
sell their
version.
own souls
Okay.
to the devil just to get it over with. Set in Castle Rock, Maine, Needful Things follows a character named Leland Gaunt, opening an antique store called, you guessed it, Needful Things. Many of the town's residents soon find their heart's desires fulfilled by the store's items, some of which have a distinctly supernatural bent. But Gaunt's prizes are nearly too good to be true. Rather than heaps of cash, Gaunt just wants the town people to play pranks on each other. But those small misdeeds end up igniting some intense rivalries, and things turn violent very quickly.
I can see how this could be a better book than movie.
If that sounds like an intriguing story, that's because it is. King's written version of Needful Things is certainly worthy of your time. But the movie's failure to translate the character development of many players involved renders this movie a total wash.
That seems
At
like
least
more
we
of a
got pretty
mini-series
good
if you're going to
Rick and Morty
adapt.
episode out of it.
A typewriter that generates best-selling murder mysteries and then makes the murders happen in real life? Ooh.
Be quiet.
The Mangler. Toby Hooper's 1994 adaptation of King's short story The Mangler somehow spanned 2 sequels, but the original was not actually very good.
It's best
The movie
and
stars
worst.
Freddy Krueger
This is
actor
the
Robert
worst list. Yes,
Englund
this
as a
is the
sinister
worst list
laundry
right now.
service owner whose machine has been possessed by a demon that's been activated by the presence
Yeah,
of
Needful
blood
Things sounds
and
like a good-ass
over-the-counter
book.
and acids. Yes, really. The original short story was pretty threadbare to begin with, but the movie completely ignored the opportunity to make a campy pick that pokes fun at itself. Instead, we're left with a ridiculous and gory flick that goes on way too long and takes itself much too seriously.
I don't know. That one looks
Riding
kind
the
of good.
Bullet.
That one.
When King published his 2000 novella Riding the Bullet, it was generally well received by critics and made history as the first mass-distributed ebook. The story follows Alan Parker, an erotic and depressed college student whose obsession with worst-case scenarios nearly drives him to suicide. After receiving news that his mother has had a stroke, Parker decides to hitchhike so he can reach her before she passes. But instead of culminating in an exciting thrill ride, the movie renders the journey completely boring. Add this to your skip list. Dreamcatcher. Even Stephen King didn't completely love his 2001 novel Dreamcatcher, but the resulting movie was even worse. The film follows 4 lifelong friends who have psychic powers, of course, on a winter hunting trip to upstate Maine. They soon find themselves caught between invading aliens and the US military forces trying to contain them. Thomas Jane, Damian Lewis,
I don't know, this one looks kinda fun.
and Jason Lee do fine work as the
Well, look at
friends,
this
but Morgan
cast.
Freeman falls flat as an overzealous commander with ridiculously distracting eyebrows.
I
What
doubt
results
that.
is an
I doubt that
overly long,
Morgan
free-associating
Freeman
mess of a
falls
movie
flat.
That could have been much better if it had just stuck to one tone.
That one looks
Lawnmower
fun.
Man.
That one looks really
If you're
fun.
a fan of this short story from King's 1978 collection Night Shift, don't be fooled by Brett Leonard's 1992 film The Lawnmower Man. It's an adaptation in name only. Other than the title and a single scene, the movie bears little resemblance to the source material. Instead of a nutty little tale about a lawn mowing service gone horribly wrong, the film steals from the short story Flowers for Algernon and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein
Oh,
for
yeah.
its mishmashed plot. The movie centers on a doctor who chooses a
Oh
mentally
yeah, well, I think we're calling BS on this list. I think we're calling BS on this. Oh yeah, the advertising for Lawnmower Man was amazing. They have fucking video game for an adaptation, a horror adaptation of a Stephen King novel. Yeah, the list is bad. We're just using the list to
The subject of
reminisce.
his experiments in intelligence boosting via virtual reality and a drug cocktail. Follow King's lead on this one and give the lousy story of the Lawnmower Man a hard pass.
No, I think Lawnmower Man is
Night
cool
Flyer.
actually.
The Night Flyer stays fairly true to King's original short story, but
It's-
that doesn't mean that
The
this
following
1997
announcement has been
adaptation
Yeah,
paid for
especially
by the
like
New
you
World
can't
Order.
you can't call that bad CGI. I don't think you're not legally allowed to call Lawnmower Man bad CGI. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. They were like some of the first, and I don't think anybody who saw it was like, "Oh, that looks like garbage." I don't think a lot of people were looking at Lawnmower Man and saying it looks like garbage. I really don't remember hearing about that. A lot of this, it looks bad after the fact, not when it's happening. Usually, I think now we've gotten to the point where we're kind of saying like in real time, the CGI is bad, and of course we're getting. I mean, I guess this is going on for a few years because there's been multiple levels of CGI now. Right then, it was only like studio movies who could really do it, and after a decade or so later, you get B-level, C-level studios doing obviously bad CGI compared to where the technology is. But I think that's very. I really don't think anything. Yeah, Jurassic Park. Basically, anything before Jurassic Park is grandfathered in as an innovation. Like I think maybe one of the Star Trek films has like the Klingon blood floating in CGI, and that's fine. That's fine. Like I think anything before Jurassic Park made CGI real, maybe even a little bit, maybe even after maybe that is fine. Is fine. Is stuff that's clearly ahead of its time. So you get an exemption. You get an exemption when you're ahead of your time. Bad CGI after we've seen good CGI is fine, especially these top level movies. these top level movies like a Lawnmower Man, like a Star Trek 6, like a, like these movies, like if they were doing the best they could do at the time, that's fine. If they were doing the best they could do at the time, I don't think anybody should complain about that. And thank you so much for the sub, Master Black Toys. 4 months. Hey, Taco gets a treat. Taco gets a treat. Are you gonna? Let's see if we can actually see. I have to move the mic out the way. Taco. There you go, buddy. There you go. Thanks for the follow, Stewed. Taco gets a treat every time we get a sub or a tip or any bits.
Actually a good movie. Miguel Ferrer plays tabloid reporter Richard Dees, who attempts to
We'll work on the taco check. We'll get something like a taco check going. But we don't have a taco camera here. We have one, it's just not at the house.
Criminal, and must also deal with a competing reporter who's trying her hardest to steal his scoop. While the short stories version of Dees was an unlikable cynic who finds his worldview shaken, the movie script and Ferrer's flat performance makes Dees a complete jerk with no redeeming qualities. If you decide to watch The Night Flyer, you'll probably find yourself rooting for the bad guy to win before it's all said and done. Now that we've gotten through the schlock, here are the best Stephen King adaptations.
Is Night Flyer like a vampire one? Is he a vampire? That looks kind of cool. Like all the worst ones, half these worst ones look pretty cool actually. Like the only one, Maximum Overdrive looked like crap, but I think thank you so much, Bojangles, for checking us out. We are going to wrap up in a little bit once we get done with this video. Like X-Men Origins Wolverine, where it looks like a PS2 cutscene despite knowing they had the budget. Yeah, that's a different one. I haven't seen that Wolverine. I gotta watch it. Gambit is in X-Men Origins Wolverine. I didn't know that. Like I've never seen that movie. I've heard so many bad things about it. I mean, not bad things, just everybody says it's bad. I really don't know why it's bad. But nobody seems to like that movie. I've never checked it out. That era of CGI movies, that might be bad, yes. Because now it's all about keeping costs down by hiring 8 animation companies per movie.
So far. Carrie.
All right, here we go.
40 years, Brian De Palma's 1976 adaptation of Carrie has remained a classic.
Wolverine Japan I enjoy. Logan I love.
Carrie was the first adaptation of a Stephen King work, and it's still arguably the best.
It's the first and best.
I
didn't know it was the first.
This supernatural tale sets the hook of suspense and reels in the viewer without remorse.
De Palma,
Spacek
baby.
Turns ethereal and terrifying
Can't be
as
beat.
Carrie, and Piper Laurie delivers a commanding performance as a repressive mother Margaret. Even though
yeah, I love Logan
today,
so much.
The original vision of Carrie still holds up as a must-watch Stephen King movie.
Carrie is just beautiful.
Unlike many King adaptations,
Stand By Me holds up.
is more coming-of-age drama than horror. Based on King's semi-autobiographical short story, The Body, it follows 4 adolescent boys in a small Oregon town who embark on a journey to find the corpse of a missing boy. Thanks to the off-screen friendship forged by actors Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Jerry O'Connell, and Corey Feldman, the authenticity of the characters' connection was incredibly real. Stand By Me remains a classic.
De Palma
today,
versus
and
Carpenter?
even those who don't like horror
I would
films
have
can enjoy
to
the Stephen King
get a
story.
calculator on that one.
The Dead Zone.
My heart says
Cronenberg's
Carpenter, but I think
1983
De Palma has
adaptation
an
of
argument.
Stephen King's The Dead Zone remains a more accessible movie than King's more horrific works. The story
And here we
focuses
have,
on
of
Johnny
course,
Smith,
Cronenberg.
a man who wakes up from a coma to discover he has unexplained psychic powers and finds himself.
See,
in a
so I like the Dead Zone a lot, but but it's it's light on the Stephen Kingness and it's light on the Cronenbergness, right? There's no body horror in it. It's just a creepy movie. It's a creepy movie with a very, great performance by Walken.
Collision course with destiny during a pivotal election. It's a masterpiece of thrilling and suspenseful storytelling that strings viewers along before the
But I
final
feel like it
climactic
doesn't
scene.
show what we
Shawshank
love about
Redemption.
Cronenberg or Stephen
Although
King,
it
even though
registered
being
very
good.
little impact in theaters upon its release.
Oh, here we
director
go.
Frank Darabont's 1994
TNT.
prison drama, The Shawshank Redemption, has gone on to become one of
TNT,
the
baby.
best-loved films of the last 30 years. The movie tells the story of 2 prisoners serving
I'm
life
sorry, the
sentences
movie
at
is
the
fun. The
Shawshank
movie is
State
good.
Penitentiary, who become
There's a
dear
reason your
friends
dad
despite
likes
their
it.
difficult
Your dad knows what he's
circumstances.
talking about.
Starring Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman in the lead roles, The Shawshank Redemption is a gritty tale with a lot of heart and plot points that transcend the generations. The Shining. All work and no play might make Jack a dull boy, but The
Now,
Shining most
if you listen to the Struggle Session episode on The Shining, you know I'm not the biggest Shining fan. You know I'm not the biggest Shining fan. I'm not the biggest Kubrick fan. I obviously appreciate him as an artist, obviously a king. Asshole, of course, piece of shit, too. I mean, he's a director. I already said he was a director, so you knew he was a piece of shit. But I'm not the biggest Kubrick fan, and I'm not the biggest Shining fan. It's just a movie that I've liked less and less over the years. Yeah, it's just kind of okay to me.
certainly isn't dull. Stanley Kubrick's 1980 version
It's
of
got
The
some
Shining
beautiful stuff
still
in it, of
stands
course.
as one of the most beloved King adaptations, even if the author didn't care for it himself. The movie follows writer Jack Torrance, his wife Wendy, and their young son Danny as they travel to Colorado to become the winter caretakers of the opulent and haunted Overlook Hotel. Danny's psychic abilities allow him to see the terrifying past of the Overlook, and his troubled father.
I like Dr. Sleep a lot, though. I think maybe Dr. Sleep is on this list. I hope so.
Significantly from the source material, in both characterization and storyline. Nevertheless, The Shining continues to be a favorite among horror lovers.
Now, I'm not saying Dr. Sleep is better than The Shining, but The Shining weighs just so heavy on you if you're a horror fan who was born at the age I was. So it's like you have to like The Shining. You have to love The Shining. And it's like, actually, with all that weight on it, I think I had a better time watching Dr. Sleep than I've ever had watching The Shining, at least in the past few years. The first time blew me away. But I think in recent years, it's kind of won me over less. And then the Dr. Sleep was such a pleasant surprise. I was like, hey. And Dr. Sleep is not really a horror movie. It's like an X-Men movie. Dr. Sleep is a very dark X-Men movie. Dr. Sleep is. It's like about psychic vampires who are kind of like mutants. But it's a very, very decent movie. Oh, and Misery, of course.
A psychological thriller directed by Rob Reiner about fan obsession.
Rob Reiner.
1990s Misery was a critical and commercial success that launched Kathy Bates' career, and for good reason. The plot follows romance author Paul Sheldon as he wakes up from a car accident.
You never forget
to
the
find
ankle breaker
himself in the
scene.
care of a superfan named Annie Wilkes.
Rob Reiner, Spinal Tap and Misery. Rob Reiner. He goes in the canon. That's two unimpeachable films by Rob Reiner. It's the 2-movie rule. We are right now inducting Rob Reiner into the canon as one of the greats. Rob Reiner. Congratulations. You did Misery. You did Spinal Tap. And that's all you got to get, too. You just need 2. And people are saying Princess Bride. Hey. Don't even have to go there, because I think Misery and Spinal Tap get you in a heartbeat. We don't even have to talk about anything else. You don't even have to talk. Congrats to Rob Reiner. You are in. You made 2. You made 2 great ones. That's it.
When Wilkes learns that Sheldon has killed off her favorite character in his
what happened to Rob
novel,
Reiner? I think he got
and there are
liberal
some
brain.
Scenes of torment that won't soon be forgotten or forgiven by fans of this film. The Green Mile. Director Frank Darabont returned to the
Darabont
Library
again.
for another prison
Darabont
drama
again.
with 1999's The Green Mile. Starring Tom Hanks and Michael Clark Duncan, this flashback film is told from the perspective of Paul Edgecombe, who recounts the supernatural events he experienced as a corrections officer after a very special prisoner arrived on death row at the Cold Mountain Penitentiary. It's a soulful and thoughtful movie, which will leave most viewers profoundly affected after the credits roll. Dolores Claiborne.
Gotta love it.
Kathy Bates returned to the world of Stephen
Oh, I haven't
King
seen
when
this
she
one.
appeared in the 1995 psychological thriller Dolores Claiborne, based on the novel of the same name and directed by Taylor Hackford. The film follows the tale of a domestic servant who's accused of murdering her elderly employer. It's a harrowing and suspenseful tale that will keep audiences guessing until the end. 1408. In the 2007 psychological horror film 1408, John Cusack does what he does.
Wait, this is on the good list? I have heard nothing but bad things about 1408. I know I had it on a fucking I had the X vid of it, and I never got around to it.
He plays a cynic with love problems. Starring as Mike Enslin, a skeptical author who decides to check into a notoriously haunted hotel room in order to investigate it. He's joined by Samuel L. Jackson as hotel manager
This
Gerald
looks fun.
Onan. What follows is a tense and terrifying descent into Enslin's psyche. Although it's definitely not on the level of The Shining, 1408 is still a satisfying and scary haunted hotel.
You know what?
That
The thing was, another movie at the exact same time almost had a very similar premise, right? I remember it was like a Deep Impact and Armageddon type situation with this. Another one with a writer being haunted. Maybe it was like Seven Gate with Johnny Depp. Maybe the Jim Carrey one with Room 23. But there was another movie. Yeah, it might have been Room 23 with Jim Carrey, and it got kind of smashed together with this one, as happens. Number 23. I did see number 23. It was okay.
On bucketfuls of gore. It.
Stir of
The
Echoes was
film
better.
debut of It smashed all sorts of records on its opening weekend, and for good reason.
I
It's
really
a very
like the first
decent
one.
adaptation of
The
one of
second
King's
one
most
is
prized
trash.
works. The 1990 TV miniseries successfully translated the scares
The
of
miniseries
novel
is
as well,
good.
but its budgeted special effects and bloated acting moments have kept that version from aging well
Oh.
in the years since.
What the fuck? Did he just say bloated acting moments over fucking Tim Curry? Come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. I'm not... Maybe that's just an editing error on their part. Yeah, the adult part of it is weak because it's just... It's the same story again. What difference does it make that you're all adults now? It doesn't really make a difference. Maybe in the book it makes a difference. I haven't read the book, but in both the adaptations, it's like the only thing that's really interesting is that, oh, you get new actors. That's kind of it. What's the point? What's the point of telling the exact same story twice? It just really, it's the same thing twice. I don't understand it. Oh, the book switches between kids and adults throughout. In the book, it was cross-cut. Okay, now that makes sense. I do remember the miniseries having a little bit more cross-cutting, but yeah, the clean cut that they did with these new movies did not work at all, and they really struggled to come up with anything interesting to do in the second one. Any interesting scares like the Goosebumps movie, or the Scary Things to Do in the Dark. I think that one was as scary as the second It one. The PG-13 children's horror movie was as scary as the second It movie. The first one was pretty good. Yeah, they undercut every scare in the second one. After after showing a brutal gay bashing in the beginning, an absolutely brutal gay bashing that will makes you feel awful in the first 5 minutes, just like a really terrible, awful scene. And I was like, okay, I don't. No, I mean, this makes me feel really bad. I guess this movie is going to be fucking dark. And then it just does not keep up that pace. They just give you a real life horror to see with no real supernatural element. And then all the supernatural stuff just falls really flat. Unlike the first one. First one, beautiful. I think really fucking creepy. In fact, I want to watch the first one again and just pretend the second one doesn't exist. The book doesn't end with an orgy with the kids, but it does involve the kids having an orgy. Probably not one of Stephen King's fighter moments. It's just bizarre. And his reasoning for it is so bizarre. He's like, I just want to come up with something where they all bond. I'm like, maybe, jeez. I can see what you're trying to do. I can see on some level what you're trying to do. Did not work out. And now that's just, yeah, cocaine. If you were on cocaine, it would kind of make sense. On a thematic level. Because he really did talk about it. I wasn't about having a scene where underage kids are having sex. It was more about I just wanted to show them connecting to each other. How do people connect? Sex. That's the first way you're like. It was probably like, how do people connect? Doing coke. Oh no, I can't have kids do coke. How about sex? Yeah, kids have sex. That's probably all the thinking that went into it. He was gonna have them do coke together, and then was like, maybe not. Where would they get cocaine in Maine when they were 13? That was probably it. He was probably like, I'm gonna have them all do a bunch of fucking cocaine together. And then he was like, oh shit, I couldn't get cocaine when I was 13 in Maine, so these kids wouldn't be able to get cocaine when they were 13 in Maine. Like, what did I do when I was 13 in Maine? Well, what did I want to do? And that's where you got in trouble. That's where you get in trouble.
The new version of it, however,
yeah,
is
cocaine
much
wasn't a
sharper
thing in
and
the
more
50s.
intense, and
Shit.
also presents the
How
heart
else
and
do
the
you
wit of
bond
the
with
novel's
people?
characters. Scary clowns might be a cultural phenomenon that makes Pennywise a timely terror, but count on this one to be more than just a flash-in-the-pan favorite.
You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too.
Thanks for watching.
Wait, what? That's the end of the list? Wait, aren't there more good ones? Aren't there more good Stephen Kings? There have to be more good Stephen Kings. Terrible list. Terrible list. Terrible list. They didn't even list The Mist. What the fuck? They didn't have Firestar, The Mist, or Silver Bullet. I think those are like the three fucking best ones, actually. I think those might be the top three. Sorry, we got into it. We didn't get to Dark Souls today. Sadly did not get into Dark Souls today because we were just vibing. We were just vibing out here, feeding taco treats. How the fuck? No, I love The Mist and I like the ending. I feel like the ending is very divisive, but it needs to be clear. You're either a person who likes the ending on The Mist or who either loves it or hates it. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. I don't think I don't think it really. I think it's just like the type of person you are. I think there's like a fucking neuron in your brain called the mist neuron, which tells you whether you like that ending or not. Because I love that ending, but I know so many people who absolutely hate it. I know so many people who love it. No one in between. There's a mist neuron in your brain that tells you if you like the ending of the film or not. Have I seen Primary Colors? No, I haven't. I actually have not seen Primary Colors. I've heard it's good. Anyone who saw the movie first, likes the movie and ending better. Yeah, I remember when they came out. I remember seeing all the promotion for Primary Colors, but I just never watched the movie. I don't know how many people did. I remember they made such a big deal about John Travolta. They made a big deal about the book. The book was really hyped when it came out because it was like, was it pseudo-anonymous? Or it was like, because they were giving us dirt on the Clintons like contemporaneously. And so it was a big deal that like you were writing a semi-fictional, maybe fictionalized book about, the sitting president or something like that. Oh, it really does portray the Clintons as trash? See, I didn't know that. I suspected it was more like a kind of okay thing. Kind of like, yeah, they show some of their foibles, but mostly makes them look good. I might check. I've seen parts of it now that I'm thinking about it. I did watch maybe 30 minutes of it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, just on flipping channels. I watched some of it. It was pretty okay. I liked whoever was playing Hillary was really good, I think. But she did not come across to me like the Hillary Clinton we know now. She seemed very focused, driven, knew exactly what was going on, what needs to happen. Very flattering portrayal of Hillary Clinton that we saw running her 2016 campaign. I want to watch Primary Colors, Our Brand is Crisis, double feature for 2 movies that portray James Garfield as a shithead. Yeah, they left off. I was gonna look up Stephen King adaptation. So they left off like the best ones. What a trash list. Looper. That list was trash. That list was fucking trash. I'm sorry. So let's see what kind of, before we close out the show, let's see what they missed. So, all right, they did have Pet Sematary. Let's see. Let's start with, all right, Carrie, The Shining. They had that. They didn't have Creep Show. I guess maybe they didn't want to put Creep Show because it's 2 out of 3. Maybe you're giving Romero more credit for that. Who knows? Left off Cujo. I remember liking Cujo. Have not seen Cujo in years. It's not the type. It seems fairly low concept to me, but I mean, in theory. But I remember being riveted by watching it. I remember watching it with my mom one time. It's very good. My mom liked that movie. She thought it was creepy. Cujo, Dead Zone. They had Christine. Did not mention Christine, which again haven't seen in years. Remember it being very good. Children of the Corn. I don't know if I ever watched Children of the Corn, but I've heard them a good thing. Firestarter. Remember very well. I know Firestarter is fucking good. Okay, I know Firestarter. All right, people are telling me Christine holds up. I can believe that. White Dog is about a dog that is trained to kill black people. and is trained by James Earl Jones to stop. I've heard of that one. Children of the Corn better than It 2017. I can believe that. I've heard good things about Children of the Corn. Obviously that poster. That's a sick poster. And I remember the images from it are very creepy. I think that's a good one. Haven't seen it. Think that's a good one. Cat's Eye. I remember I watched Cat's Eye a lot when I was a kid. I watched this one a lot as a kid. I don't know if it's good. But it's embedded in my brain. That little troll, the cat, the kid. I think the troll stabs him in the hand or something like that. That's embedded in my brain. Haven't watched it in years. I don't know if it's good. Silver Bullet. I think that's a good one. I think Silver Bullet is good. I haven't watched it. I watched it as a kid, and then I watched it maybe 10, 15 years ago, and I liked it. I liked the villain in it a lot, actually. The Reverend. I like Silver Bullet. I don't know if it's the best, but I did like it. Maximum Overdrive, they had it on there. Words, Stand By Me, they had it on there. Very good. Creepshow 2. I don't think I've seen Creepshow 2. I'm gonna have to check out Creepshow 2. Did y'all check out the new Creepshow on Shudder? It's pretty good. Hit or miss, as all the anthologies are, but pretty good. Running Man, pretty good. They didn't have that on the list. I don't think, maybe it's not on the best list. Pet Sematary by Mary Lambert. Very good director. Love her. What was that other movie she did that was really good? She did Pet Sematary 2 as well, and she did one recently that was really good. Let's see. I gotta check out Urban Legends Bloody Mary. I didn't know she did it when that came out. What else? She did one that was really fucking good. I'm trying to think. Besides, was it Anthology or something? I'm trying to remember. There was one I saw of hers that I really, really liked, other than Pet Sematary. I don't remember what it was though. I don't remember what it was. But Mary Lambert, deserves a lot more credit, both as a Southerner, as a horror movie director. It might have been one of her TV shows. I don't remember. It might have been a Tales from the Crypt of hers that I watched, but I've seen other good stuff by her. She deserves more credit. Garbage, thank you so much for the follow. Neil, thank you for the follow. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Probably don't want to give them credit for that. Let's see. Any other good ones that they really missed? Was Apt Pupil by Bryan Singer any good? It just seems it was the 90s. Yeah, it starts to kind of peter out here. The Carrie remake. Good poster. Not a not the best movie. I don't think. Not very good. And I think they used like a little bit of CGI in it too that didn't work out as well. Then now you're getting to like TV movie Stephen King well, more TV movies, cheaper movies, lower. I guess it's picked Netflix movies. Gerald's Game feels like a very that's a Netflix movie, 1922 Netflix movie. This one's okay. It's okay. It's not the greatest thing you're gonna see, but if you like Tom Jane, you might want to check that out. I haven't seen The Dark Tower. I want to see it. It looked really good, but then everybody said it was bad. It looked really good. I understand the absolute impossibility of trying to adapt The Dark Tower into one 90-minute movie. I read the first. I'm in the middle of the second one, actually. I'm in the middle of the second Dark Tower book. I'll pick it back up sometime. I didn't dislike it. I'll pick it back up sometime. And I just want to watch Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey just kind of vibe and like shoot at each other. Like, that's all I really need from it. Oh, it looks cheap. That's the problem if it looks cheap. And barely 90 minutes. Barely 90 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's just such an epic story, but I feel like they could have picked out one element from that, which is, the Man in Black and Roland, and made a good 90-minute movie out of it. Obviously not one that covers the scope and scale of it, but you can make a 90 movie about like a cowboy wanting to kill the bad guy. I don't even know why they didn't just make the first, that first scene, the first book, the first confrontation, the whole fucking movie. You show a little bit of the gunslinger history. You show him chasing Randall Flag or whatever he's called in that book, Man in Black. You show him chasing him. You have these incidents along the way. You get to that town where the Man in Black is killed. You get to that town. I think they all turn on the gunslinger, or in the movie they could do that. They could turn on the gunslinger, and he has to fight him off. And by that time, you get your flashbacks to growing up as a gunslinger. He meets the kid. He continues on the journey. He finally gets to the Man in Black. I guess you need a little bit more than that. You need something else in there. You need more people in there. But, I mean, we're close. And then you have that final confrontation where he sacrifices the child to try and get to the Man in Black. And you see that incredible character moment from Roland. And then fade to black, to be continued. And that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. If you want to make a 90-minute Dark Tower movie, just adapt like the first book. It shouldn't be that hard. Or just adapt like the first part of the first book. It should not be that hard. You don't have to go to our world at all. In fact, Roland shouldn't find the door or whatever. It should all take place in this other world, this other strange, bizarre world of the Dark Tower, and just let that be that. The second season of True Detective was so bad that people completely forgot about the first season being one of the best shows of the last 10 years. Yeah. Yeah, they should have just done Gunslinger, but they tried to cram the whole... Yeah, he corrupted the town. That is a very cinematic scene, and, you can get a lot out of that. Eyes of the Dragon, Master Blastoise. Thank you for mentioning that. That one was on the tip of my tongue because that's my brother's favorite book. He loves that book, Stephen. Eyes of the Dragon. I don't think I finished it. I think I might have to go back. That's a good one. That's like a Stephen King doing fantasy, doing like a Game of Thrones type fantasy. I actually don't think I finished that. I might have to go back. And Pet Sematary, the new one. It's okay. I don't think it's a bad one. I don't think it's a bad movie. It's not a bad time. In the Tall Grass. Oh, that's a Netflix one. Co-author with his son, Joe Hill. Don't get me started on Joe Hill. Don't get me fucking started on Joe Hill. There's nothing I like less than the fact that this motherfucker changed his name to Joe Hill to prove... Look at his fucking face. He changed his name to Joe Hill because he thinks that means that he has earned everything he has and it's not based on his dad's accomplishments. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you telling me there's a single literary agent on the planet who did not know this motherfucker was the son of Stephen King? Are you telling me there's a single person who has read a book that could look at that guy and say, I can't really place that face. Looks kind of familiar. Are you like, come the fuck on? I don't know. Maybe he's done some good stuff. I haven't gotten any stuff from him that makes me think that he really earned it. Sorry to say. Like, come the fuck on, man. Come on. Come on. Who do you think you're fooling? Who do you think you're fooling here? Dr. Sleep, a good one. Let's see. These are all. Oh, to be announced. There's like 20. There's like 20. And we got a new Firestarter coming. A new Salem Lot coming from Gary Dauberman. Who the fuck is this guy? What has he done? Annabelle. Okay, I like Annabelle. I actually think Annabelle is a pretty good one. The third one sucked. But the first two were actually pretty decent. Now, he wrote these. He didn't direct these. And I think so I don't really necessarily give him any credit for that. Oh, he directed the bad one. Fuck. Oh, that sucks. He directed the bad one. The guy who's doing Salem's Lot, directed the bad Annabelle. And he wrote It Chapter 2, which is bad. Thomas Ligotti remains unadapted, not officially. I think there's some fan adaptations. Probably difficult. I mean, Ligotti is a lot to pick up. Ligotti is a lot to try and make, because he really is very literary. Like, he has stories that don't have any characters, but he has some stuff. He had so much of his internal. I think it would be very difficult to adapt a lot of Ligotti. Yeah, there's one based on The Frolic. There could be one based on Drink to Me with Labyrinthian Eyes, but then, even then, I'm thinking about that. Like, when you actually read a Ligotti short story and write out, like, all the action, like, what happens in it, is usually not that much, right? Like, most of the words, the language are about setting the mood and the tone for the reader. They're not about they're not about like action or moving from place to place or this happens. Things you need in a movie. Oh, Jeremy P. 2020. Thank you so much for the follow. Let's see. What is this frolic? What's the frolic? Okay. The frolic. Yeah, the frolic, the short story, that is a Ligotti with a bit more action, and I don't mean that in the like a Arnold Schwarzenegger term. I just mean in a writing term. Oh, In a Foreign Town. I think I heard about that one coming out too. I actually had not watched the frolic. I may have to get up, but let's get it playing. Let's get it playing. I may have to take a step out, but
Please to repeat the question.
Let me know if that's loud enough for you.
What are you drawing?
It's a little girl.
And I think I'll turn off our little guys so you can read the subs.
Why'd you do her eyes like that? She dead?
Alright.
No.
Say goodbye to our little guys.
What is she dreaming about?
Me?
Why would she dream about you?
Sweetest little lassie I've ever seen. She's my darling little lady, and her name is...
Oh, have not seen Convoy. Wait a minute. I have seen Convoy
Nearly over, Doc.
as a kid.
It's time for me to go frolic again.
Not sense, though. This is The Frolic, based on a short film based on a story by Thomas Ligotti. Independently made, I believe. Let's see. Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy your art therapy. I guess we'll do it in a foreign town tomorrow, but we're going to close out the show with The Frolic.
Your
If
dad's
you have to
gonna
drop
go
out,
your
you can
soccer
find this
game
on YouTube
tomorrow.
for free.
Really?
Yes, and then he's gonna take us both out for ice cream.
And that's going to be our show for the day, but we're going to keep this playing. Thank you so much for following. Have a good one. Peace.
You go to sleep now. Good night, dear.
Night, Mom.
Yes, this is Dr. David Monk. I have kind of a strange request. Yes, I'm here. Great. Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
It's okay.
I had to pack up. I've just got this last report to write up and then I'm done.
Do you want some dinner? Because I made...
No, maybe later. Interview number 1, Forensic Psychiatry Division, Knollgate Correctional Facility. Patient's name is undetermined and will be designated in all pertinent records as John Doe. No medication presently being administered, possible recommendations to follow. Patient is compliant on certain conditions.
Tell me about yourself.
Pretty much nobody, Doctor. Yeah, just a regular non-entity, if you will.
Okay. Well, how about we start at the beginning?
And what beginning is that?
Let's say the beginning of your life.
Look, my life, it doesn't really have a beginning.
Okay. Well, can you tell me where you were born?
That is an excellent question. It is. Unfortunately, I don't really have an answer for it. I mean, not one that you're gonna understand. You know what, Doctor? We should probably skip all the vital statistics stuff and move on.
Well, I feel uncomfortable not knowing what to call you.
Well, I'm Johnny Doe, don't you know? I was in all the newspapers, you know. I'm notorious and stuff. Okay, I guess you're just gonna have to be comfortable with that.
Well, it's my job. I have people to answer to, and they... expect me to find these things out.
You have my sympathies, Doctor. You really do. Maybe this will help. There once were some children who knew me as Peter. Oh, I loved frolicking with those little darlings. You know, I just hate to see them all growing old. But I can't save them all from that atrocious fate. So how you fixed, Doc?
Fixed for what?
For kids.
Hey. That was the real estate agent that just called. They accepted our counteroffer and we could close in as soon as 2 weeks.
That's great.
Yeah. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Will you be working much longer?
I don't know. A little while.
Okay.
How's Colleen?
She's fine.
Okay. And what is it?
It's a stairway. Can't you tell?
Oh, where does it go?
Up to the stars. Well, sometimes other places. Ain't you got no imagination, Big Daddy? When can I join the others? I want to meet some new kids.
They might not want to meet you. They might want to hurt you.
I mean, what if they're meanies? I ain't afraid of meanies. I can handle them real good.
You spend a great deal of your time alone, John. That must be difficult.
I ain't never alone, Doc. I can talk to anyone I want, anytime I want.
Yeah, and what about Ryan? Was he a meanie?
No, Ryan was a friend of mine. I took him frolicking with me. You know, it is so much easier to make friends with kids than it is with adults.
Yeah, and where do you go when you frolic?
It's a secret place. I bet it's like nothing you've ever seen. It is out of this world. That's where I'm from, Doc. You should see them when they get there. It's beautiful. They're so awestruck.
No, that's not how Ryan looked when the police found him. In that dumpster where you left him.
That wasn't Ryan. That was just a suit he was wearing, and I had to let him out.
You mean you had to kill him?
This is when the frolic begins. I keep it going as long as I can. And they love it while it lasts, but it's just like after a while they dissolve or something. I don't know, maybe they're just having too much fun, I guess, but that's when I have to find a new special friend.
You finished?
Taking a break.
Look, I'm sorry about bringing this home with me.
Well, it's the last one, right?
Thank God. I don't think I could do this again, not after this one. Did I tell you how they found him?
No, and I don't want to know.
He was leading a young girl off a school playground when someone noticed that he had blood on his clothes. It was the blood from the last kid he took. When the police apprehended him, the little girl he was with, she cried. Not because she was afraid, because they were taking away her friend. She wanted to go with him, Leslie. The guy was stinking of blood, and the little girl, she still wanted to go with her special... I'm sorry. Look, I've been thinking... before we move, we should go on vacation. Take Colleen someplace she'd like, someplace fun. I feel like I haven't seen her in forever.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Okay, well. We should finish.
Would you mind turning up the thermostat on your way out? I'm freezing.
Too cold in here for you, Doc?
Fine, thank you.
Me too. Warm and cozy. Then again, where I'm from, it's about chilly all the time.
And where are you from?
Not from around here, that's for sure.
Do you have any idea why you're here?
Because I choose to be. I'd leave here anytime I want.
Why don't you then?
Just thought I'd need a little rest. I've been frolicking rather hard lately. Besides, I'm quite enjoying our time together here. You and I. So tell me, Doctor, how is that little daughter of yours? Or is it son? No, it's daughter, I think. Yeah. Does she have many special friends?
It's none of your business.
Well, I'm sorry, Doctor. I thought we were friends. I don't make many friends with grown-ups. Children are much easier. I mean, children, they can't have too many special friends. Might be kind of cold in here after all.
I'm gonna do the rounds.
Please to repeat the question, Herr Doctor.
What are you drawing?
Here. Made some hot cocoa to help warm up.
Thank you. Look, I'm sorry again about earlier.
That's okay. I understand, okay? And things are gonna get better real soon.
What is she dreaming about?
You know, it's actually too bad that we're moving away because Colleen is finally starting to make friends.
Oh, yeah?
She even has a boyfriend, but she won't tell me his name. She calls him her special friend. Isn't that cute? He even got her a stuffed animal. She took it to bed with her and everything.
Stuffed animal?
Mm-hmm. A deer. Well, a doe, actually.
Our time together here is nearly over, Doctor. It's time for me to go frolic again.